So I think by this point we've all seen K-pop Demon Hunters, and when I laid eyes on Rumi, I knew I had to cosplay her. So let's go do that. I knew that I didn't want to create the entire costume from scratch because I needed to do it quickly. So I decided the best place to start would be to get the base items that I needed from the thrift store. So I headed to my local Value Village, forced my boyfriend to film for me, and I'm taking you along with me. Thank you. This isn't this lovely camera angle. You can see all of my pores. The goal of the day was to find a yellow jacket, hopefully pleather, but I could make do without, a white turtleneck that I could crop, or either an already cropped white turtleneck, and a black or dark blue pair of shorts or pants that I could turn into shorts. Oh my god. This is violent. Oh, it zips on the side. These are fun. This will work. These have the aesthetic and also really cool buttons. Now that's the gay agenda, folks. This right here. I might actually just wear it like this, mostly because I don't want to wear a crop top. But also it's gonna be hot, so like maybe I do want to wear a crop top. I don't know. At this point, we had been in the thrift store for quite some time now, and my boyfriend was getting really tired and wanted to go, and I didn't blame him, but I was determined to find a yellow jacket, which is so difficult to find in the thrift store, by the way, and so I had almost given up all hope, and then, suddenly, the only yellow jacket in the entire store. It's a yellow cropped jacket.
How's the fit?
I mean, it probably fits just fine, but I love how I'm like, oh yeah, we're not in the era of like yellow, colorful jackets anymore, so I find. Oh my god, I'm stuck. Very nice. Perfect.
Suits you.
Yeah.
Actually suits you too.
Yeah. And it's only like $12, so success. Success.
Show the full fit. Who are you, Lightning McQueen?
Yeah, I'm Lightning McQueen. You guys. So here we have it. Everything that I got for her. I do have a couple chain necklaces for her because she has like some chain necklaces, and I might also make some stuff. I'm not really sure yet how I'm gonna do her jewelry, considering she has a lot, and also pierced ears, and I only have one pierced ear because the other one had like a huge issue with it several years ago, so we'll see what I end up doing for jewelry for like ears and stuff. The jacket is, I believe, a little too long, but that's gonna be okay because hers is more like cropped to here, and I think this one goes more to like my waist a little bit, but that's fine. I am entirely shocked that I found a yellow like jacket at the thrift store. Like that's wild to me. I did find in my wardrobe a long neck. I might actually save this one for a different iteration. I might also not crop it. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna use this one or I'm gonna use the one that's already in my collection, already in my wardrobe, and I don't really like it, so I might crop that one instead. We'll see. The shorts, I need to add the pink along the top and the stripes down the side. It has a zipper on the side, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to like cover the zipper while keeping the zipper functional, so that's gonna be fun. I am not looking forward to all of the decoration that's gotta go on top of this jacket, because I don't have an embroidery sewing machine, so I cannot do like all of the fancy embroidery. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm just going to paint on fabric the designs that go here and on the cuffs, and then on the back of her jacket she has like this white stripe, and I'm just gonna paint that on. So that's kind of the plan, is the really intense designs are going to be painted onto fabric and then are going to be sewn onto this, and then like some of the more simple stuff is going to be painted directly onto this. And then she's got like the Rumi patch that's right here, and that I'm also just going to like paint onto like EVA foam or something, and then maybe I'll also do some satin stitching on my machine, but my machine cannot do intense things. It can do very basic stuff. So that's kind of the plan there. All right, let's do this thing. So I'm starting off with this really wide double fold bias tape. I think it's a blanket bias tape, I'm not sure, but it is really wide, and I'm going in and I'm covering the bottom of the jacket because her jacket has a black detail on the bottom as well as around the collar, and I use clips instead of pins. So I took my bias tape and I pinned it around the bottom and the top. And then I don't have a black zipper on hand with like silver metal teeth, but I do have a white one and I feel like it works. I don't know if you can see it on here, you can't, but that's fine. All right, so this next part, that front detailing, was the most difficult thing. I decided I was just going to freehand it because at the time of making this jacket, the movie had been out for maybe like a week, and so there was no resources online. I was doing this all by the seat of my pants, and it ended up working out. So yeah, I just stared at the image and drew it out on this paper. I believe there are stencils now that you can find online. So I'm having trouble with this shape right here, but not too bad, not too bad. It's definitely going to be a trust the process, because had some, I don't know how I'm doing this shape, but everything else looks pretty good, and it's very much a trust the process. So yeah. So instead of working on that, I decided to sew on the zipper. I did sew on the zipper with just a regular foot and not a zipper foot because of the thickness of all of the materials. All right, I used felt to make the base of that embroidery design. Now, this design is actually like it's culturally significant to Korea and is based on, I believe, a painting or a specific art style. I think it's really important to understand the culture behind a costume. Like this embroidery, this design, it's not just something that they thought was cool, it is something that is culturally important to the Korean people and to Korea. Like, it's not just a thing, and I think that's like really important when you are making a costume from a culture that is not your own, is that you understand at the very least some things about it and you do that research, so that way you aren't doing things that may seem I'm explaining this very badly, but it's very good to not just use cultural appreciation and not cultural appropriation in that sense. So yeah. So basically the TLDR of how I made this was I used red felt, black felt, and white felt. That meant that the only parts I had to embroider were the teal parts, which I used by doing a satin stitch, which is where you take your stitch to the widest it can go, or just a zigzag stitch, and you take it to the very smallest you can make that stitch, and then you just take 30 years and a lot of patience, and you make something called a satin stitch. My sewing machine has some issue with doing a satin stitch. It's doing its best, but it is what it is. It'll work. I'll take it. And so then I spent, I think, actually 6 hours doing all of this satin stitching. It was very time consuming, very tedious, but so worth it. So to get some of those, like the tapered pieces, you have to intermittently make the stitch closer together, or like a smaller zigzag stitch, so that way you can make it come to a point, and you use different stitch widths to create like the different thicknesses that you need. I drew out the stencil in a white paint marker, so that way I would see what I needed to draw on. This is in real time, how long it takes. It takes so long, but honestly, it is very worth it. I do suggest making test pieces to make sure that you know what you're doing, but yeah, just here we go. More and more. Anyways, look at that. Look at this. Look at this! Ah, so cool. This looks so much better than I thought it would. The back of it is kind of insane. Like, whoa. This is crazy. Look at this. Look at this. I then used black thread and sewed inside of that like black outside line around the design so that way it would stay on the jacket. And then I used some more black thread and just sewed on the bias tape right on the outside. I didn't properly install it. So we have unfortunately had a casualty. These absolutely adorable shorts do not fit. I would need like literally 2 centimeters, like an inch, and these would fit. Just ass too fat. Ass too fat. Technically my hips, I just need like, they almost fit. And that's like the worst part about it, is they almost fit and they don't. Luckily, I have backup shorts, also thrifted for a different project. So I'm gonna make the parts of this that are gonna be pink removable. I mean, it'll be removable in the sense of I'm gonna have to like rip the stitches off again. Because I also like these shorts. I wear them. These are just like a pair of my shorts, but I don't feel like spending any more money on this project. So I used the same method as before to make the design on the sleeve, just using felt and backing it with a bunch of different colors. I just kind of played around with shapes and stuff, and then I cut away the excess so that way it wasn't too thick when I put it through my machine, and it seemed to work pretty good. Then I hand sewed it all down, which I did for the other thing, by the way. Like, this is, yeah, I didn't just freestyle it because then everything would move around, but specifically with these little pieces, you have to sew them down. Do you see a problem with these? They aren't mirrored. I actually can't get a good image of either one of hers, and they seem to be different anyways, so they're not going to be mirrored. But I had intended to make them mirrored. So they're done. I am now going to satin stitch around all of them in black. And that's gonna take me like half an hour, so I'm back. Wow. And now here's the part where I commit some cardinal sins. I'm just painting onto this thing with a paint pen, guys. I fear I just did that. And you know what? It worked. It looked good, okay? So what if I committed some cardinal sins? Sue me. Fight me right now. I'll meet you in a Denny's parking lot, all right? Come on, bro. Anyways. Yeah, I just painted it on with a paint marker. I also hot glued these on, which does not work onto pleather. I should have like scored the pleather or something first instead of just like going straight for this. Alas. And then I also painted these lines. I'm following the designs on her jacket from the best of the images that I can find. And if you don't want to be insane like me, Cospayton has an entire pattern of the jacket available on their shop, so go check it out. All right, now it's time for the patches, which, by the way, Cospayton also has a pattern for that too. So I used EVA foam for mine. I freehanded all of the patterns because I'm insane, and I cut it out of, I believe this is high density 3mm EVA foam. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've had this EVA foam for a very long time. I got it out at the shop in Burnaby. Anyways, I like the high density EVA foam because it's like a little thicker. Anyways, I heat sealed it with my heat gun off camera, and then I just straight up painted onto these, which definitely took a lot of coats, and also I'm just using cheap acrylic, so it took a lot of coats. I could have done this differently, but I was working with what I had because I didn't want to spend very much on this project. I actually think I only spent about maybe $30 on this project, excluding the wig, because I was just using things I either already had or things I got from the thrift store because I wanted it to be like an easy project. But yeah, I'm either using acrylic paint or the acrylic paint pens and going through and just doing all of the designs individually and just freehanding everything. Because again, I am insane. Clinically, certifiably, I will live in horror of that S that I drew on Soul right there because it sucks. Anyways, yeah, also, did you know she has a sleigh patch? One of her patches says sleigh. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, it worked. And then I did an insane thing and I didn't check the right sleeve that I was putting these chevrons on, but alas, here we go. Also paint pen, also cause I'm crazy. And then we hot glued that again, which didn't work, by the way. We're about to find out, but you know, if the foresight being 2020, haha. Now we're painting on the back of the jacket, lads. Again, we're using the paint pen, the white paint pen. I don't remember what brand it is. It's not mine, it's my roommate's. And I just drew on the back and then I filled it in with acrylic paint and I did, I think, about 2 layers of this acrylic paint and that's it. That's all we did, boys. That's it. Every single time I add something to this jacket, I feel like a part of my soul leaves my body and then only returns once I've done it well enough. Like, oh wait, did I? Oh. I think I just... A moment of realization. 1 second, I think I put... 1 second. Some of my patches are on the wrong sleeves. This is like paint now. I cannot, like, change that now. Shit! I'm gonna be able to fix this. So, hot glue doesn't stick really well to this fabric. It's also not sticking super well on this, so I'm gonna go back through and sew these on. The hot glue is just to kind of keep it there in place. For the patches though, I remembered I have contact cement. Now I'm gonna take this outside and I'm gonna do this all outside on the back porch because this is highly toxic and I am not going to be opening this in the craft room. But I am going to be able to fix the patches. I have drawn on here and here where the patches need to go. I drew on the like chevrons here. It does mean that she's gonna have chevrons on this side, and if anyone says anything, I fight them in the street. That's it. All right, lightning round, boys. I did actually change the shirt because I didn't like the zipper on the other one, and now I'm gonna be insane and just cut directly onto this. I did actually forget to incorporate or think about seam allowance for turning this up, but it's fine. It's a little short, but it is what it is. I just did a rolled hem on the bottom with a zigzag stitch so that way it would stretch, and it worked out. It worked out just fine. See, zigzag stitch. See how it's too short? And like, I think it's also because my chest is a little too large. Anyways, it's fine. But look at that, it looks so cool. Yeah, so the shirt should actually come down a little further, but it just doesn't want to. It's fine. So, the shorts is the last piece of the actual, like, costume, and then we can work on the wig. So I have these shorts. Not the original cute shorts. These ones actually fit, and so that's important. They do have like a bit of stretch to them, and so I don't want to like lose that stretch. I have bias binding to make the stripes along the side, and then I have some pink broadcloth to make the pink band across the top of these shorts. I am going to do these shorts in a way where I can remove this once I no longer want to wear this costume, because I like these shorts a lot. So let's go alter some shorts. All right, the last thing, the shorts. I cut 2 lengths of bias tape and the length of the shorts. That's what I did. And then I cut a big strip of however long the, oh my god, what is that called? oh my god, what is that called? The waistband of the shorts, and then I folded over the two edges, and then I ironed that down, and then I sewed it onto the machine. I didn't show you the ironing part, but I did actually iron the bias tape flat as well. See, here I am just sewing that on, and yeah, I did mess up. I also just didn't want to be doing this. I was so tired. So yeah. I need to show you a little mistake that I just did. That doesn't work. So I'm gonna go redo this. I also did a top stitch along the top of this so that way there would be an equal amount of stitching on either side. And that was it. That was it, boys. That was all. And there we have it, a pair of shorts. I also realized at this moment that the pinks did not match, but I decided not to care. I also did go add some belt loops, but I didn't film it. Wait a minute, I forgot I have this. Final thoughts about the costume. I actually like the look of this costume. I don't so much like it on my body shape. I have very wide hips and I am quite bootylicious. So this style kind of ends up, I mean, it doesn't look bad on me for sure. Like, it doesn't look bad on me. It's just, I also, like, not incredibly skinny anymore. And you might think I am, but I do weigh like 145 pounds. Like, I'm not like size 0 anymore. I wear like size 8 pants. Anyways, that's irrelevant. I don't know if this was the Rumi outfit. You know, I really like the look of it, but sometimes that's like the difference between like really liking the look of something and then not super liking it on you. You understand? Like, I still think this is a really cool design. I really like this jacket. I think my biggest issue is the crop top. Like, I'm just not a big fan of my midriff being open. I usually shy away from like really intense crop top action. Like, I will show like a little bit, just like maybe like the 2 centimeters, you know, like just a tiny little, ooh, there's a little midriff. This is my entire hand width of midriff, and that is just, I believe, a little too much for me. So my final thoughts is, I like the costume. I think it looks good. I just don't 100% like it on me. And I think also it comes down to like the shorts. I really would have preferred the other shorts, but alas, there's nothing I can do about the size of my voluminous dump truck. This is the second wig I have used. This is the Doki Doki lace front Rumi wig, like the specific made for Rumi cosplayers Rumi wig. Now, the very first wig I used was because this wig hadn't arrived yet, and I just made something in the meantime, which there's a video of it. You can go check it out if you want. I do give a lot more thoughts about how I felt in that wig in that video, but definitely changing to this wig makes me like me in this costume a lot more. I don't even have this like glued down, which I'm sure you can kind of tell because there's like gaping, but I just didn't feel like gluing it down. It's a bit of a stifling costume, which it doesn't look like it should be, but it kind of is. I don't know. So yeah, that's the Rumi cosplay. Thanks for watching. If you like content like this, do stick around and give me a nice little like, a little follow. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments. And if you do enjoy costume related content or things like that, you probably are going to be very interested in the next series we're going to be doing, which is Cassoween, or Halloween with my first name juxtaposed into the beginning of it. So I've got a couple really cool videos coming out for that. and I'm really actually excited about that. This is the first time I'm able to do more than one video throughout the Halloween season, so this is gonna be really exciting, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Love you, bye. I don't have outro other than that, so yaha.